All right. So let's talk paddle shuffling. All right. So the topic of discussion for the whole past week, I was in Vegas for the last couple of days. I missed a little bit of it, but there has been so much talk, starting with Anna Leigh Waters. What paddle is she going to be using? Where is she going? What is she doing? And nobody can think of anything else. Good thing there's no pickleball to talk about because this is front and center for the last week. Uh, Zane, do you have any inside scoop for us? What's happening here with Anna Leigh Waters? Where's she going to go?
Yeah, I actually just got some pictures today of AL swinging looks like a Franklin paddle. So it doesn't look like anything that they've had approved, but I got some screenshots of that. Now, the interesting thing over the last couple of days, and I can go step by step. Basically, Anna Leigh leaves Paddle Tech. I made this video of I think the 6 or 7 different companies that they could be going to. Top of the contenders are Franklin and Yola. Couple people pointed out that there was a Franklin paddle that looks exactly like the ALWC Paddle Tech paddle, pretty much the same shape that she's been using for years, that appeared on the USAP approved lists last year. And then Travis just came out and said it. Like, he said he saw or has it on good authority that Anna Leigh was at a photo shoot. Sort of he said, she said stuff there. But I do have some actual pictures of Anna Leigh swinging a Franklin. Now, who knows whether she's signed a deal or not. Actually, the kitchen was all over my posts recently saying that she hasn't signed a deal yet. And then just today I see the screenshots of Franklin. So uh, that's about as much as we know right now. Everything points towards her signing a deal with Franklin at this point.
Now, Zane, how much money do you think a company like Franklin is throwing out at Anna Leigh to sign her? Like, what do they have to do to get an Anna Leigh Waters?
Yeah, I've got this pegged as an 8-figure deal. And here's the rationale that I've got. So Ben Johns made $2.5 million in 2024, right? That was a CNBC article. He told CNBC that's obviously split between PPA contract and Yola contract. My guess is that based on what PPA contracts were from Tour Wars, I'm thinking he's getting 1.5 million from PPA, 1 million from Yola per year to get that 2.5. So if we're pegging Ben's contract at $1 million per year from Yola, which he signed at late 2021, right? You've got to think 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 4 years later, and probably hundreds of millions of people more playing pickleball 4 years later, you've got to think that, okay, this deal probably isn't 4 times as big, but let's say conservatively 2.5, 2 times as big. That puts this deal at $2 million at least. And you know that neither of these companies, neither Anna Leigh nor Franklin, is going to want a 1 year, 2 year, even 3 year deal. For this to make sense on both ends, this has got to be a 3+ year deal. And so I'm thinking 2.5 million a year for 4 years, 3.3 million per year for 3 years. But either way, I'm thinking this is pickleball's first 8-figure deal.
So, did you mention that Ben Johns was a lifetime contract?
Ben Johns does have a lifetime contract, right? And so he's really deferring $1 million per year. If he were to sign back then, he's probably commanding $2.5 million per year for his playing career at least.
Right. So, I've always been curious about like Ben's deal, and because there was like a dollar figure attached to it, but it's like over lifetime. So it's like, okay, but what's the annual amount? And then if I'm Ben, he's one of the few who actually moves the needle. Where if he plays the paddle, people are going to buy that thing. Like I would absolutely want, if I'm him, to have a healthy royalty on paddle sales, if not a percentage of the company. Now, Yola does more than just pickleball, so maybe it'd be a percentage of the pickleball business. I don't know where Anna Leigh is going, but if I'm her and, knowing her family, I feel like they're probably assuming it's not something that's like multi-sport. they're going to be getting some percentage of either the company or of the pickleball entity that operates under that like company's umbrella, and definitely royalties.
Yeah, it's gotta be royalties, gotta be equity. In fact, I thought one of the front runners was potentially her starting her own paddle company,
Which would
right?
be brilliant.
Um, yeah, but the thing with a bigger company like a Franklin is, I wonder if they're going to give up equity in the pickleball subsidiary, right? I could see royalty, but I just would be a little bit surprised if Franklin, a family held company I'd be surprised if they were giving up actual equity there.
So, so I think the biggest thing for me though is that out of all the pros in all of pickleball, I would say only Ben Johns is worth whatever his contract is, and of course you, Zane. But Ben Johns, he signed with Yola, and they almost overnight became the face of pickleball paddles. All right. Whether they have the best paddles or not, that's up for debate, right? The Hyperion was great when it came out. They had some downs with, their Gen 2, and then they got a paddle that was banned, and then they had to buy a mod, which also then got banned, right? They went through so much turmoil, but everybody sticks with Yola. You see Yola is like ubiquitous with pickleball, and it's the standard of paddles of which other paddles are ranked. If someone asks me, hey, what is this paddle like? Well, it's like plus or minus 10% Yola, right? So I feel like Ben Johns made Yola what it is in the pickleball space, but I couldn't say the same for any other pickleball player. I don't even know the last time I saw an Anna Leigh Waters paddle in the wild, right? Like for every 100 Yolas, I maybe see one Anna Leigh Waters.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if you're Franklin, like, is she actually moving the needle? I don't think so. I think that if you're a pickleball paddle reviewer, you move more paddles than Anna Leigh Waters does. I think, I hate to give him credit, but I think Chris Olsen or John Q or Braden moves more bread and butter locos than Anna Leigh would ever sell Franklin paddles.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? Because I do think that just guys in general don't play with a lady's signature paddle, right? However, if you look at paddle tech, there are paddle techs everywhere. Paddle tech is, I would guess, you've probably got Yola, Selkirk in terms of market share, and then Paddletech very well may be in that third spot, battling with Carbon, for 3, 4 in terms of market share, right? So like people are buying Paddletech paddles, but they're not. I agree with you. There's not a tremendous amount of Anna Leigh paddles out there. Tons of Christian Alshon paddles out there,
Mhm.
right? They're everywhere. Christian Alshon paddles I see as not as commonly as Yolas or certain Selkirk paddles like the Boomstick right now, but like after that, I would put that up there. I don't know, maybe that's just the some of the vacuum that I play in, but also the people that are at the Austin Pickle Ranch, they are your paddle nerds that are listening to John Q, uh, Chris Olsen, and Pickleball Studio, right? So the interesting thing is like I don't know if she moves signature paddles, but I don't think it'd be fair to say, or at least her success is very highly correlated with Paddle Tech moving a lot of paddles.
So what you're saying here is that Anna Leigh Waters sells more Christian Alshon paddles than Christian Alshon does.
I'm saying Anna Leigh
Huh.
Waters sells more Christian Alshon paddles than she does Anna Leigh Waters paddles.
Wait, Nico, I know you're doing some stuff with Merrick Health. What are you? Because I know they'll help you improve a lot of different things. Like, what are you most focused on going through this program?
Yeah. So as you know, as you've seen in my Guess My Duper, I don't move very much. I don't have a lot of mobility. I don't have a lot of pure athleticism. I have the hands of a god, but the feet of an ogre. And so I'm super excited. So working with Merrick Health to figure out how I can improve like my overall fitness. Drop some pounds and maybe look a little bit more spry out there. Look like I'm not actually connected to the floor. So what was really cool is that I jumped on a call with my health coach, and he's asking me a ton of questions. All right, like, what are your goals? And I'm like, well, I sleep well. Some of these things I've got locked down. Like I sleep 8 hours a day. I play pickleball, but I really could be a little bit more mobile, a little bit more active, right? And I have a 10-month-old baby girl, and I'm like, man, she starts playing pickleball, and the more she starts moving, the more I need to start moving, right? And so they immediately had me do some lab work, right? So I got my blood drawn, got some markers. And so it wasn't just like guesswork, like, oh, hey, Nico, this is the things that I think you should do. I've talked to you over, a call once, and I know everything about is we got some official information, about my blood and what in my body, what's going to work best for me. And I actually then had a call with them, and we're going to connect with like a physician provider. So like we have the health coach, and then we have a provider that kind of goes through like, here's some supplements and some lifestyle changes that you can do, right? And so it's not just guessing, which is really cool. I am confident in like, all right, here's the markers I actually want to increase. Here's the supplements that I'm going to need to take, and I have accountability throughout the journey. So I'm looking forward to actually chatting with this guy again next week to like share, okay, like this didn't work. What are we doing, right? And so uh, if I found one thing that doesn't work for me, it's not having accountability, right? And so with Merrick, I have a plan, and then I'll have accountability with an actual coach. So super awesome. So I'll be sharing kind of my journey throughout the next couple of months with what this looks like. And so if you guys want to follow along on the pod, follow along on my social channels, I'll make sure to share, my weight loss, my transformation, and then we'll hopefully get some clips of me a little bit more spry on the court. And maybe we'll get that duper above 5.0 officially so I can stop lying to everybody. All right. And so if you're interested in going through a similar journey with me, you just head over to merrickhealth.com and use the code THEDINK. You get 10% off at checkout. Again, it's Merrick, Marek, health.com/TheDink, code THEDINK.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had